Hey, good
Hey.
afternoon and welcome, or good evening, depending on where you are. Welcome to the first Thursday show of the Cruise Amigos Live. I'm coming to you from Forest, Virginia, and down there below me is Amigo Martin.
Hi.
He's
Hello,
over
I'm back
there in
online.
Manchester, England.
I'm
Next to
here.
him is Amigo John, who's up there in Minnesota. The three of us make up the Cruise Amigos, in case you've never seen us before. We've always been on Sundays, and we
Sundays.
just decided to go on strike.
Yep.
We're
So
protesting against Sunday shows and are now doing our shows on Thursday, right here, right now, forever and always. So,
The day after
and we
hump
do
day.
have a special guest today who's the lovely lady that's sitting next to me. And she's over there on the other side of the pond, which we won't hold that against her. But she's been everywhere lately. She's been on Wonder of the Seas and Viking Mars and Celestial Cruises and Nicko Cruises and the Azamara Onward and the Celebrity Beyond and goodness knows where else. One of our favorite writers in the world, Jeannine Williamson. Jeannine, welcome back to the Cruise Amigos.
Thank you very much. I feel very privileged to be on this first new show.
Well, see, we have to have somebody a dummy that we can, a guest that we can try everything out on.
We only
To
bring
see
the
how it
best
goes.
in, Chillie. We only bring the
Best.
best in on
The
our
best.
shows. That's what it is.
And
absolutely.
of course,
I hear
because it feels like Sundays, it's a good excuse to have what you would call an adult beverage to go with it.
Oh, we like adult beverages.
Well, of course we like adult beverages.
You've
I
never
just
heard of
happen
them
to have
before.
one right here in my big ass. What's that coffee place name?
Oh,
The
I
Buck
can't
of Star.
The
Yeah,
Book of
yeah,
Star.
The
whatever.
Buck
Anyway,
of Star.
this is my glass for my cocktail.
And you do realize that the logo on the glass you're drinking out of is a mermaid,
Yes,
since we are cruising. I mean, it is a
yeah, cruising show.
Is that full of bourbon and Coke
Yes, it is. It's
I
no,
like
it
your
is
style.
bourbon and Diet Coke.
and Diet Coke? Oh,
Yes.
well, I'm having a
I
gin and
have to
tonic
watch.
tonight.
I have to watch the belly, so it's Diet Coke.
After the amount of cruises you've done, Chillie, I think, yeah, it's time to. We need to diet ready for our next cruises, don't you think?
I don't have time to diet before the next ones.
When's the next one?
It's in another week or so.
Oh, yeah, just
2
wind
weeks
me
maybe.
up. Wind me up. You're worse than me. In fact, you're worse than Jeannine.
Yeah.
You know, you're not. Yeah.
Okay, so Jeannine, we have discovered a couple things about you.
Oh dear, here we go. We're only like a couple of minutes in.
Now, one we discovered that you like to read. Now,
Yeah.
I realize you're a writer, but what do you like to read? What are you reading right now?
Oh gosh, I mean, at the moment I'm reading travel books about where I'm going next. But I read, to be honest, I read everything from newspapers to novels to factual books to, yeah, I mean, to be able to write, I think we've got to be interested in reading too. So
But so what in
I
novels?
feel,
What do you read? What is it that you sit down? You're in the cabin. You're in one of those cabins with a little deck in the front of the window, and you're sitting there, and you got your feet kind of wrapped up, and you got a cup of tea. And what
a
book
cup
is
of tea,
open?
very good.
What book? Well, you call it tea, we call it booze. But what book is open there in front of you?
I mean, do you know, I used to take books on cruises and then they never ever got opened because you just don't have the time. Or like recently, I tend to go on ships and they've got fantastic libraries. So I just pick out anything from there that just looks
okay.
fun and something interesting. When you can see all the books I've got behind me here, these are all travel books. But varied. But Chillie, I feel this is sort of leading up to something.
No, we're just
Oh,
curious.
definitely.
What
Oh, no,
does a
that's
travel, what does a travel writer read? What do you like in fiction? Who do you follow? What author? Or are you an adventure person, or are you a love story one with Fabio with the big haircut? What's the
Well, I mean, I don't like science fiction. That's one thing I don't
Okay.
like. I mean, I love like things like Ian McEwan novels. I mean, sort of more classic authors, Graham Greene, people like that. But anything. I mean, every week I read the papers, and I've got a whole pile of things here that I pull out about books I want to read, and probably never get round to.
I have four. I count them. 4 books on my Kindle on my phone. The one I've been reading it for a year and a half.
Must be very long. What is it? War and Peace.
No, it's. I'm the guy with Fabio with the long hair. I'm the romance guy. It's just a plain old trashy romance, and I read about 2 pages and I fall asleep.
See, I'd like a good autobiography sometimes, but I have to be interested in the person, you know, and you read some of the things, and then when you're reading them, you reminisce about things that you've probably heard about, or you remember them from TV or radio and things. I love those kind of books, mate.
Yeah.
Well,
All right, now, so now we go on to page 2 of the Jeannine autobiography. You live in a town that's known as God's waiting room.
That's so unfair. That's so unfair.
Some of us that are tending to be a little to the old side of getting old.
No, Chillie. We call it closer to the door.
Oh,
we just call it closer to the door.
Tell us about God's waiting room.
Well, I mean, it's a sort of classic traditional British seaside town. I mean, Martin, I'm sure you probably know of it, Eastbourne. So down the road from Brighton, which is our nearest big bright city, that's where sort of all the action goes on. But it's always people have come here to come to the seaside, and it did have a pretty unfair image of, you know, God's waiting room. And yeah, it is a lovely place. A lot of people do retire here, but I have actually written stories to sort of counter that theory, in that the average age now has come down. We've had this big new marina built. Younger families are moving to the town. And in fact, I mean, during lockdown, loads of people that sort of lived in London actually now want to move to the seaside. So it's a slightly unfair image, but, you know, things stick, as you know. So
it's a small world, because my dad, when I was about 12, 13 years old, we went down and spent about 6 weeks in Eastbourne because we were going to move to there. It never came up because my mum and dad got divorced, but yeah, we nearly ended up moving to Eastbourne. So we lived
could be neighbours, Martin. We could have been neighbours.
We could have been. We keep missing each other, and we need to meet up at some point, Jeannine, because we seem to be like excuse the pun, but ships passing in the night.
I know. Well, eventually, but hopefully this year will be the year.
That's it.
Speaking of ships passing in the night, Martin, you got some splaining to do.
Oh, here we go.
How the hell did you hook up with Allison after her cruise is over and before yours starts? How did you pull that one off?
Well, what it was MSC, like they had a late flight, and they let them stay on board till 3 o'clock. Their flight wasn't until 6 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the evening. So there's a group of them, and they let them stay on board, and then they transferred them then to the airport. So it was quite nice, because I got on board about 5 to 11. Sorry, 5 to 12, and she was getting off at 3. So it took us about 2 hours with Facebook messages to finally meet up. It's like, where are you? Right, I'm at deck 15. Right, come and meet me. Where are you? I can't see. I'm waving at you now.
So this thing about ships having to get down to a 0 count before they can let the next flock on is complete bull then. Is that right?
I think the way they've done it, they must have an agreement that they didn't have to, or it might be like they do a bit of a changeover as if they're staying on, but then kick them off. I don't know, but it was good that they let them stay on rather than kicking them off at like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning for a 9 o'clock flight. You know,
they kicked
the airport's
me off at 8 o'clock in the morning for a 9 o'clock at night flight.
Maybe it's something they need to look into. You know, if it's something that they can do, it's a good customer service thing. But I think Alison still had an all-inclusive package and was allowed to drink and chill out and relax. I don't think she had a cabin though. I think she was kicked out of the cabin. But at least we got to meet after 2 years of like Zoom calls and meetings on different various things. It was so nice. It was nice.
All right, now Jeannine, I understand that you have this affinity for animals.
I do.
You especially like horses, so you can go out and to ride a horse. and then you get off the horse and get him warmed up good. So there you are walking your horse around in a circle after you rode him around in the other circle, and then this is you performing on the horse. Is that
Oh,
correct?
I wish, my goodness, I wish you'd never get me doing that. The first
That
one was the
wasn't you?
safest. The first one was definitely me on the safest one, the wooden carousel horse.
But that wasn't you running around the race course?
Sadly not.
Oh, I'd love to
After
ride
all
a
that
horse.
cruise ship food, I couldn't get on one of those horses.
It's a bucket list for me. I'd love to go horse riding. I really would. Last thing I did with horse riding was a donkey on Blackpool Beach many years ago. So,
Well, you're getting skinny enough. You could get on a horse now.
I don't know. I think I'm still a bit fat. A bit overweight. And then again, I don't know. I mean, these jockeys are like 4'1" and like weigh next to nothing, don't they?
I didn't
Let's be
say
honest.
you could be a jockey. I said you could get on the horse. You won't break it down.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Bucket list. I'm starting making my bucket list of things I want to do.
Okay.
So Jeannine, when it comes to horses, what is your? Are you like the queen and you like racing horses? Are you a quarter horse person? What's your horse affinity?
Well, I mean, to be honest, all horses, I love them all. I mean, we do know of quarter horses, but I mean, over here, I ride a friend's horse, and he's like a New Forest pony, which is one of our native breeds of horses.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been watching all the things with the Queen today, and it's lovely to see all the horses there and all the they have for the various pageants that they have. So any horse with 4 legs and a hoof on each end, that'll do me.
Well, then, and have you come to America? Have you come and seen some of our horse pageantry?
I have indeed. I was really lucky. I mean, a few years ago when I was doing more land-based travel, I did a fantastic trip to Texas, which was learn how to be a cowboy, or in my case, a cowgirl. And they took us out on quarter horses and, cattle and everything. And that was fantastic. Wonderful. So you have done a few riding. That's good, Martin. There you go.
But you need to cover, since you like this, do you know about our Rose Bowl parade? Okay, the first of the year in Pasadena, California. It's 101 or 105 or something that they've been doing it. They have one of our biggest parades of the year, and everything has to be covered in living flowers. That's what the Rose Bowl, but they use things down to cumin seeds. I mean, but every float has to be covered with only plant material. And in there are some of the finest horse groups in the United States. The Spanish horses that do tricks and do all of the choreography. And sometimes the Royal Canadian Stallions. The Lipizzan Stallions. Do you know about the Royal Canadian Musical Ride? Have you ever seen that?
I have actually.
I've seen that. Do you know at the end? Do you remember at the end they kind of do this? They all line up and they all go racing across the field. Do you remember that? Well, they were performing at the exhibition in Regina, Saskatchewan back in the 70s. And I was there as a representative for Yamaha Music. And Gordy Tapp, who was our spokesman at the time, he was a guy from Hee Haw, one of the TV shows. But he was the MC for the event. I had never seen this. I didn't know anything about the musical ride, nothing. And Martin, just so you know, it's like 100 of the biggest, most matched up quarter horses, each one with a real hunky RCMP officer in their full red dress on the horse. I'm sorry?
I said, I'm in.
Yeah, and they do all sorts of patterns and everything. But at the very end, they line up and they come charging across the field, and then they regroup 2 deep and they come charging across, and then 4 deep, and it's their big finish. Anyway, I know nothing about this. All I know is that Gordy Tapp grabs me and he says, "Come with me." And we go out to the middle of this field, and he says, "Stand behind me and whatever you do, don't move." And all of a sudden there's these like war whoops and hollers and things from the other end of the field, and 100 quarter horses are coming at me full speed. And I'm just, I'm telling you, I was a little heavier then, and I've got my arms so far into my gut fat that you didn't know I had arms. It's like, and they whisked by me, and I'm telling you could feel the stirrups, the shoes of both riders on either side. And then they turn around and they go around and they come, and then they're 2 deep and they come at you. You have never felt anything until you have felt the pounding of quarter horses. And for those who don't know, a quarter horse is one of the bigger format horses, not so big as the Budweiser Clydesdales. Those are towing horses. Those are designed to pull. But as far as riding horses, quarter horses are the big ones. They're way bigger than an Arabian horse. And when there's 100 of them pounding the ground coming at you, it's like waves on the ocean. It was like the grass was moving like this as these horses were coming at me. And it's one of the most outstanding experiences of my life. So if you get over here, I'll see what I can do to get you to be out there on the pivot for the show, for the RCMP, because it's an awesome show. And you've seen it, trying to get the other guys excited about it, because it's pretty neat.
Sounds amazing.
We got to get you to the Rose Bowl. Find out what you need to do to come and write a story about the Rose Bowl. And I'm sure with your credentials, we can get you right down in front, and you will see some of the nicest, most evenly matched, and beautifully dressed horses that you will see in your whole life.
Yeah. That would be neat to do.
Jeannine. There's your next big story.
There you go. God, sounds amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Jeannine, you being an animal lover, here's the next question in the quiz.
Is.
Okay. So my niece yesterday, she's out walking the dogs, and she runs across that.
He look good tortoise or turtle, isn't he? He looks evil. He's like,
yeah,
what are you looking at?
He's a tortoise.
Right away, you're presuming it's a he.
Okay.
Or he, she, or whatever they may
It's a
identify.
tortoise, isn't it?
Well, now look at that. It's a tortoise, yes. Now, tell me, Jeannine, is that a male or a female?
I'd have to turn it upside down.
Damn, she knew it too. I had to ask. And of course, my niece is going to tell me in no uncertain terms how you do what you do. You turn it upside down, but not for that, Martin.
Why don't you turn it upside down then? Come on, fill us
See
in.
if how do you say that word?
Concave or convex.
Well, it's also has the smoothness of it.
Yeah, if it's
The
flat or
little boy's shell has bumpier than the little girl's shell, and it's what's the word, John? Fulcrum, not fulcrum.
No, I don't have it now. I'm on to other pictures, so I'm sorry.
Crap, I've forgotten what the word was.
You see, you come on the Cruise Amigos on a Sunday. It used to be a Sunday. We're now on a Thursday. And you find out all kinds of things. Our show, when we start, we can go many, many ways and many directions. And it's just, that is what the Cruise Amigos are about. It's raw, it's live, and it's what you see is what you get.
Now, I also found out something else about Jeannine.
Oh, here we go.
I also found out that she is particularly fond of Europe's narrow streets. That would be Jeannine walking down the street, singing a song. That's a little bit too narrow for me. I could not get in there.
How do you handle snow removal? What do you do to get rid of the snow?
As hell, but that's ridiculous.
We could get you in, Chillie. We might never get you back out, but
the buildings would go, oh!
I mean, I couldn't get in there. Jeannine, where is that?
Okay, well, so this was in Mykonos last week, the Greek island. And this is the narrowest street on the island of Mykonos, and apparently the narrowest street in Greece, which is, they told us it in 39 centimeters. And it is quite long, and apparently people use it to cut through from one side to the other to save walking a long, long way around. But I mean, it's hilarious, isn't it? And I agree, it does look like snow.
Have I got? Hang on. Have I got?
Where did they park? Yeah, do they drive on the right side of the street or the left side?
Yeah, it could be a bit tricky if you come across somebody the other way. I don't know who gives way to who.
How do you change a flat tire?
39
centimeters. But I've never seen anything like it. Of course, needless to say, we had to try it. But it is quite long. It is quite
And
long.
how far did you get, or did you just go in a little bit and then come back
Well, I
on
mean,
and
you
think I'm
could
not
go
going
the
to
whole way.
get
But I would have to go sideways. I don't know if anybody could go forwards, but maybe a child. But
And you were on Celestial. That was when you were on Celestial last week?
yes, have you heard of them?
Oh, yeah. Of
Okay.
course I have. You were on them last week. As a matter
Yeah,
of
so
fact.
it was interesting. It was they do these like long weekend cruises around Greece, and this was one. I mean, I didn't even realise you could do it because I've always tended to think of Greek cruises as at least a week, but they do these 3-4 night cruises, and I mean it's incredible. You see so much, and whilst it is pretty hectic, if you've never been to Greece before and you just want a taster of some of the islands, it's a really, really good way to do it, and it's a really authentic Greek experience too. I mean, this is a lovely classic older ship. All the crew come from Greece. Really fantastic food, especially if you like cheese and all manner of other things. And it was a really fun experience.
Is that in Greece? The vineyard?
Um,
I'm not sure what
Possibly.
order these things pop
No,
up.
I'm not positive. I think this could have been in Italy, but we did go to a vineyard where all the grapes sort of grow on volcanic soil. So it could be. Oh gosh. Okay, that was. Okay, now we're bouncing.
That seems to me like you're in a grocery store and grabbed a bottle of wine and said, I haven't had it.
Okay, so this was in Italy,
Okay.
in Sicily, in this sort of shadow of Mount Etna, where they grow vines in the volcanic soil, which is apparently really, really good. So, but this, I hasten to say, I mean, this now is really an adult beverage. I know Martin and I love this word because we never heard it before with 2 words. So this is called, in translation, the Fire of Etna, and it's a liqueur that's like about 70%. So it is absolutely breathtaking. I mean, I think forget about the volcano blowing its top. This is something that makes you like. But it had to be tried, of course, as I always say, in the interest of research.
Oh,
So I
sure.
can pass on this information to my readers.
Yes. And here it looks like you're about ready to fall in the pool.
Okay, well, this was it's been so whistle stop recently. This was the naming ceremony for Viking's new ship, Viking Mars, in Malta.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it a ship or is it a river ship?
This is a ship. This is their 7th ocean ship. And I mean, interesting, because the one thing that makes it different from all the other previous Viking ocean ships is it isn't different at all. They've really stuck to a philosophy of sticking with what you do best, and every single ship is the same, which is quite interesting because, I mean, we all know all the new ships that come out, everybody's trying to outdo each other, bigger, better, more roller coasters, crazy things. But Viking, they're just all the same, which is quite nice because when you get on board, it's a very familiar feeling. You don't get disorientated walking around trying to find the cabin or the other facilities. I mean, have any of you been on them, Martin? Have you been on one?
I've not done Viking yet. It's one of the ones that I'm hoping I will get on in the next sort of few months. Fingers crossed. I think our big MD was over there, John Moore. I don't know if you know John from Wendy Woo, but he was over there, I think, for the naming of that one, I think. So
shame we didn't meet. But
but yeah, no, I haven't done Viking yet. But it's on a bucket list of cruise ships I need to do.
Now, you
we're
go
really jumping around tonight. We're really jumping around
all over the world. You've been on 97 boats here in the last 3 weeks. And you do all this traveling to find a vegan food trailer?
Well, this was a fun. I went actually when I was at the Clear River conference earlier this year. They organised a walking excursion around Budapest, and one of the places we ended up was this new street food court, which was really, really good fun. But we only had a short time there, and so when I went back quite recently, I had more time and went back there by myself. And it's fun. They've got all these vans selling, authentic Hungarian food and special items, and it's just really good fun. And nice thing about Budapest, it's still pretty inexpensive, so it's good value for money.
But goulash isn't vegan.
No. I'm just
don't put meat in it. You don't put meat in it.
Yeah. So were you in Buda or were you in Pest? Is this unit with all the food stands on the Buda side or the Pest side?
On the Pest side.
Pest side. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
now the reason that I stuck those in to totally out of order. Tell us about the CLIA conference you attended.
Okay, well, I mean, that's an interesting one because they have it every year. Obviously, it's been cancelled where they haven't had one for a couple of years. So they hold them in different cities, often mostly in Amsterdam. They've had one in Paris. I don't know if Martin gets involved in any of them, but this year it's in Budapest. And it's a trade event, so it's mostly for travel agents. And it's a really, really good way for people to see all manner of different river ships because they have up to 6 ships that are taking part in the event that are moored there. So the travel agents can go from ship to ship. We stay on them. Usually stay on one or more for each of this time. It was over 3 nights. Sometimes it's been 2 in the past. And then we have conference sessions during the day when people from the various lines talk about the latest trends and what's new and what's coming up and all the different themes. So it was just really, really good to be back. And I say this year, obviously, it was in Hungary, and great fun.
I did one in Amsterdam a few years ago, and yeah, it is brilliant. It's one of the best times where us as agents, we can literally get so much knowledge and information and visit so many ships in that short space of time. It's a fabulous couple of days. I really enjoyed it, but this time I couldn't because I was on cruise with Martin on Virgin Voyager Scarlet Lady, and then the CLIA conference in Southampton when they do the ocean one. I was away in Greece. It was like I couldn't win, so I missed out on both this year. So maybe next year.
So what's the takeaway for this year? You were talking? They predict new trends. They talk about exciting things. What did you gather? Come on, spill the beans.
One of the big things, the big topic, which I think is also in ocean cruising too, is sustainability. Is coming to the fore. That more people are interested in sustainability. Ships, ditching all the single-use plastics and things like that. So they're making big strides like that. I mean, the most notable one being Arosa River Cruises, because they're just about to launch their first ship, which can be powered by batteries and electric power. And they're retrofitting this to all their ships. And I think that's a trend that's going to be coming. So they can sail on battery power in and out of port and then plug into the shoreside supply when they're there. But I would say that's probably one of the big things that came out this year. And family river cruises, which is, something that hasn't, a decade ago, nobody would have even thought of a family going on a river cruise, but how they are for everybody and they offer something interesting. So, no, it's always a great event to go to. And I think, probably Martin, I'm sure you would agree that I think the thing with it is we all know when you look particularly at river ships compared with ocean ships, they're all more or less the same on the outside because they have to be of a certain length and height to fit under bridges and fit into locks. And I think the thing I take away every time people that have never done a river cruise before, they're always amazed at how different they can be on the inside when you're already dealing with the same amount of space and size.
Yeah.
And how creative and clever the companies are to do very, very different things with them.
Yeah, because it depends you could have one ship exactly the same size, and one might have 120 passengers, and another will have 160 because they put more cabins on and things like that. So, and it's great. It's great to see the variations. So, but yeah, I do like river cruising. So I haven't done one for a little while, and maybe we need to do a cruise Amigos from a river cruise.
There you go.
There we go.
John wants to go on a river cruise.
Sorry?
John wants to go on a river cruise.
John will go on a river cruise.
I have I've seen them for years. Traveling Germany, I've done lots of every year I kind of tend to make a big circle around Germany. So whether it's the Rhine, the Mosel, the Nahr, any of the rivers, the Danube, I've been where the Danube meets I can't think of the other river, but there's that big line in the water where one's like more blue and one's more green. And I've been to all these places, but I've never, overnighted and been on a river. One of the reasons is because cost per day compared to a Carnival cruise, $500 for a week and everything. It's just it's a real big cost. That was one of the things I wanted to find out from you. Who's got the most economical travel on the rivers? Who are the lines to look at?
Well, I mean, Martin, obviously, a lot too, but I mean, I would say, I think the thing is, people look at the lead-in price for river cruises and say they're, oh gosh, they're so much more expensive. But the key is you've got to see what's included, and that's often an awful lot. I mean, so you will have, most of them now provide wine with lunch and dinner. All the excursions are included. For Brits, the flights are included. And there are just a lot of inclusions. That's what you have to think of. And when you break that down, I mean, especially some of them will have an open bar. I mean, from lines like the more lead-in budget line, Quasi Europe, I mean, incredibly, they have a big draw for them is they have, for Brits especially, an open bar. And then obviously the more upmarket lines, more expensive lines, Uniworld, Tauk, they have an open bar too. So you are not going to be paying anything for your drinks. You're not going to have this eye-watering bill at the end of the week for drinks, excursions.
That's Chillie. He's the one with the eye-watering. He gets a $500 cruise and a $50,000 bar bill. So,
and the food's all included. And if they have, I mean, the backdrop actually you've got there. I mean, that's an interesting one, because that's one of the last cruises I went on, which is Nicko Cruises, which is quite a new name for the British market. It's quite a long-established German owned company. And I mean, that was a great ship. I mean, this was really interesting, just to talk about the restaurant you're showing there, because this was a little alternative dining venue they had at on the lower level of the ship. And it was just like a little jazz club and a bar, and you could have been on land. And I mean, that was all included in the fare.
So was that, you say that was like a jazz club? So were they playing jazz while you were eating dinner and things like that?
They do. I mean, they weren't when we were on it, but I mean, they play jazz music and they do have people come on, and it was just a really nice venue. And interesting, lots of tables for two, which sometimes river ships don't have. So it's really nice for couples if you just want to have a few nights by yourself and things, or eat by yourself. Quite a few solos on board too. But I think that, I mean, Martin, I think you would agree with river ships. That's what people have to get over, that there is so much included in the fare. With some of the ocean ships, yes, of course, you will get on for, $500 or whatever for a week or 5 days, but you're then on your own. Every bottle of water, every drink, adult beverage, every excursion, you've got to pay for.
Sure.
I mean, if you look at excursions on a cruise ship, an average cost of an excursion these days is $70 plus. Times that by 7.
I think it's higher than that.
Yeah. So you're
swimming,
looking at
swimming with the dolphins.
$420.
Yeah, swimming with the dolphins is $300. A helicopter ride's $500. You even if you do one of those in a week, that really ups the average cost of your excursions. So.
It does. You're right. But if you take that out the price that you're paying, then you take your drinks out as well. You take it down, and it does come down to probably what you probably will be paying for an ocean cruise, because it's the extras that you've got. But some companies like Riviera Travel have some dedicated solo trips, like the beginning and the end of the season. Where every cabin is solo, and they also, I think they dedicate 6 cabins per sailing to a solo, so you can get some very, very good rates, depending on when you want to go and things. And you saw that a couple of months ago, we had, I think it was the Amadeus cruise, is £700 as a solo, including a flight. So if you're going to try a river cruise, I'd say this year, because of the ups and downs in the industry and the little things going on, this is the time you're going to get your best prices, I'd say. So, contact your local travel agent if you're in the UK, and we'll get you sorted. So if we've got one in America for you US guys, then, contact your agent. But now is the time to do it. So maybe, John, look at something for November before you got a transatlantic booking.
Well, yeah, I doubled my transatlantic. I'm doing 11 days from Rome to Lisbon before I get on the transatlantic now. So that's going to be 20 days of cruising. So this is going to have to be, Chillie's got to go to the bathroom. He has to do that every once in a while. So he can't hear us now. We can say anything we want about him right now. So
we can talk about him. We always do every time. No, we're not that even. So you're doing transatlantic, Lisbon to New York, is it?
Well, I'm on the Epic, because the Epic's my baby, and this year it's going, of all places, 9 days only with 2 stops. They're stopping in the Azores and they're stopping in Bermuda, and it's Lisbon to New York. but it's kind of a trick that they did, because they're also doing a once-off Rome to Lisbon. It's not any of their regular routes or their weekly circles or anything. And I think what they did is, I think they started out to do a Rome to New York, 20 days with, there's 9 stops in the first 11 days. And all of a sudden they weren't selling it. So I think they divided it into 2. I think they divided it into the Europe part. And then, so I just added on, I'm in the same room, and I added on the 11 days of the Med for cheaper than the 9 days of the transatlantic.
There's some great prices with NCL at the moment, but the only problem we've got from Europe, well, from the UK at the moment, is the cost of flights at the moment because of all the consolidations. There's not as many flights as there used to be. You used to be able to pick up a flight to Rome for like £40 each way, chuck your bags on for another £40, and away you went. But now it's like, I mean, I'd look somebody going in July, and it's £500 each Manchester to Rome. Yeah, and it's ridiculous. And that's a direct
so
flight.
that's what, $650?
Yeah,
something like that.
Wow.
It's a lot. It's a lot of money for the flight. I mean, we paid for ours when we went out. We paid return, including the flight and speedy boarding. All the rest. We had the extra bag just in case we needed it because of my weight, with all my shoes that I'd take and t-shirts and underwear, which we did need because we had to unpack it in the beginning. But anyway, we'll talk about that on another show. But yeah, so we did that, and it was £300 for the 2 of us, and we went sort of mid-May.
I need to throw 2 things in the mix, folks. Okay. One, in case you're wondering why I jumped up, my oxygen delivery's here, so my just brought my oxygen in for the week, so I had to go do that. And then the truth of the matter came in about Amigo Martin. Allison reported in that there were 15 bars she went chasing you before she finally caught up with you at the 15th bar, and you were having an adult beverage at each one of them.
No, well, I'm sure Jeannine will tell you, right, travel agents, right, when we get together, we can drink any bar dry. We know how to party, like Jeannine in the press, and you get on board. And these events that we do normally, like the shakedown cruise and things, we get on for research purposes and enjoy the ship and things like that. But we do know how to drink, don't we? We know how to party with the best of them. I mean, 3-4 o'clock in the morning, you're going to bed, and then you're up again at 7-8 for conference and things like that. But yeah, it was so funny because we literally were running around the ship. It was like, I'm in this bar, I'm in that bar, because obviously I was meeting friends from work and things and suppliers, and then we were moving on to different bars. It was like, we're in this bar, and it was like a chase around the ship, but we met each other. We did it. We made sure we saw each other. So Chillie, we are going to Mykonos on our group cruise, so you can try. Yeah, so Chillie,
you can try the narrow street. There you go.
I can go put my fat butt in that skinny little hole. Yeah, no, ain't gonna happen.
You've got to at least have a picture trying. There's your challenge.
My foot wouldn't fit in between those 2 buildings, much less my fat body.
Yeah. Jeez.
Jeannine and I.
Hey, Cruise Monkeys are here. They're off on another cruise soon, so they've just joined.
Hey, Cruise Monkeys! Everybody's here. Allison's on board. Gretchen. Lots of people are on. And while we're talking about that, I'm going to put my camera on full frame a minute, and I want to know if anybody knows what. There we go. What is that?
That looks like one of those.
I don't want you to see it. I don't want you to see the name down there. Doggone it.
No, we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it, John. Don't worry. We haven't seen it. It looks like one of those games, where you have a little ball in and you have to twist it and get it.
No, it's probably 80 feet wide. It's probably 25 meters
big
wide.
Ball.
It'd be a big ball, yeah. And another story for you, Jeannine. This is, I know it's not river cruising, or cruising, but I found this just by accident, and I got to go there. I got to figure out a way to get here. And I don't know if I'm going to tell anybody tonight. Maybe this is a carryover. This is one of the cliffhangers for next week's show. But, where is it that this is? I'm moving.
I can't even work out what it is. It almost looks like, it does look like something from outer space.
I've no idea.
I
Are you
don't
leaving
have
us
a
a
clue.
cliffhanger?
I can
We'll
say,
start
and let's
with
see, in the world, it's closer to. Well, I'm not sure who's north and south of you guys. Manchester and your town is.
Yeah,
I'm
Jeannine's
South
down south.
Martin's north.
Okay, you are the closest one to it as far as in the universe. It's
Well,
closest
sorry,
to
Martin or me?
you to Jeannine.
It's got to be in
Oh my
Europe.
goodness, this is a real challenge. I mean,
Well,
I can't even think what it is.
And I'll tell you, there's a similar one in Mexico, and it's called La Bufadora. The one in Mexico is called La Bufadora, and that
I know
roughly
what it
translated
is.
is buffalo snort. I don't know if you know that. La Bufadora is buffalo snort, and it's a place in Mexico. I've been there with my motorhome, and this is a similar place far, far away from Mexico.
I think we should reveal it after next week.
One of those.
So maybe
spout
reveal it
things.
next week, and we can keep us guessing.
It blows water up in the air.
Nope, it does not. This one does not blow water, but it functions like La Bufadora, like buffalo snort.
So is it in Europe then? If Jeannine's nearest to it out of all of us, then it's got to be in Europe.
Oh, so it's not in the UK. I was thinking it was in the UK.
Oh, no. Look at the ground around it. I mean, it's.
I was trying to.
Okay. Well, maybe do a big reveal next week.
And I would tell you guys that every one of you have been within 20 miles of it in your life. You've all been within 20 miles of it at least, and maybe 5 miles. I don't exactly know, but certainly you've been within 20 miles of it in your life. All of us have.
It's going to be near a port, then, isn't it? It's going to be near a port.
It's got to be, yeah. It's got to be 20 miles from a port. So it could be Rome, it could be Barcelona,
Well, I don't know.
It could be Lisbon.
John does know some places that I've been that weren't ports, but he would not necessarily know that either of you guys have been.
I didn't say you stopped within 20 miles of it. I said you've been within 20 miles of it.
Oh, no, that's even worse now because we could have passed it on a coastline somewhere.
What a thought. What a thought.
Oh.
I think you've got to leave it with us and have a big reveal next week.
Yeah, we'll have a big. And if anybody wants to give me the answer in the meantime.
I know what Jeannine will do. Jeannine will go see one of her buddies.
Oh, Zoltar. Oh,
she'll go get Zoltar and say, "What the hell is that damn thing that John's got?"
That's really funny because the name of the place is in the same language as Zoltar's name.
Ooh.
Was that a little clue you gave away there?
It might have been a sort of a clue.
I love the Zoltar. He was on Wonder of the Seas, and I was just amazed to find a Zoltar machine on a ship. Sadly, he wasn't working. I was gutted because before.
Have you ever thought that maybe he was working and he chose not to engage with you?
Well, I was hoping it'd be like Big, he'd suddenly lurch into life without being plugged in. But there you go.
You did get did have a hot date on while you were there.
Oh, I'm so jealous of you being on Wonder of the Seas.
Isn't he brilliant? I mean, he's just like, one of these just. Well, we all know how you meet interesting people on cruise ships, and there he was, just sitting overlooking the pool. A spaceman. But it was very difficult, the communication with his helmet, so I gave up on him. I'm going back to Rob the Robot on MSC because he serves drinks.
And Jeannine
at least had a conversation with you.
I'm going to eat these, and I'll never have to go back to Greece again because I won't fit in that street.
Okay, well, so then here's a starter for all of you after John's question. What do you think these are for those of you that, as in Chillie's exempt from this question?
They're Asian. I predict, looking at the plate and the soy sauce, I predict it's an Asian dish.
Okay, Martin?
I'd have gone pork balls, like sweet and sour pork balls or something with a dip.
Okay. Good answers. Right, so do you want the big reveal?
Go on.
They are on Wonder of the Seas on their new mason jar, which is a southern restaurant.
Oh.
Okay, and we'll come on to this in a minute. They are twice deep fried Oreos with bourbon
Those are
sauce.
them. Okay.
Whoa, hang on a minute. Just go back again. Just say that again.
They are twice deep fried Oreos, the biscuit as we know, or cookies as Martin and Chillie know, served with bourbon sauce. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, John and Chillie, we now have this thing in UK restaurants where they have to give the calorie count. I cannot even imagine what this would be. It would be like off the Richter scale.
Oh yeah, they are the
I know, Martin,
batter.
you're struggling with this, aren't you? I can see.
I've heard of over in Scotland, they started the thing with deep fried Mars bars and
Yes.
deep fried Snickers. And I don't know if anybody out there has tried one. Alison may have done.
That's what the business I
They're
was
not the
in,
nicest
Martin.
thing. Sorry.
That's the business I was in for 30 years.
What, deep fried Mars bars and Snickers?
Well, I did funnel cakes. That's deep fried dough.
Oh no,
It's the same dough. It would be the
That's
same
the
dough
same
that's
dough
around
that
these.
they did the Oreos in.
but deep fried cookies.
Yeah,
I mean,
you take a
it's not going in. It's not.
take
It's
a-
not right.
your chocolate bar. You
Yeah.
dip
Freeze
it
it.
in the
Nope,
same
You
batter.
got to freeze it first. It's got to be
It's got to
frozen.
be frozen. Yeah, it's frozen.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. Dip it in
Oh,
the
okay, that's
batter.
interesting.
Drop it in the hot oil. Leave it in the oil for 30 seconds or so till it browns. Take it out. Cool it off. And it's gummy, chewy, sweet inside with this
Sweet.
coating outside. I put powdered sugar on it to make it even more
Always.
sweet.
See, that was
Right.
why I thought it was a savory dish because I would have expected that it would have had powdered sugar on it.
Yeah. I mean, we had to order it just to see what it's like. And I mean, I have to confess, I did have some of it, and it is awful, as I say, wickedly. It was delicious. But I mean, you can't even imagine. And the drink that you just showed, because
Yeah, that's what I want to. I want to get into this mason jar. What the hell are they doing putting drinks in mason jars?
It was fun. It was a really fun venue. It's then the new one. There was a band playing country music when you come on, a live band. And this was one of the cocktails. I've forgotten the name of it now, but it allegedly has moonshine in it. And various other things, and it's fun. They come in jars, but the menu is really, I guess, deep southern food. I mean, probably everything on that menu is fried. You would probably only go there once on the cruise, and as I say, I would dread to say if they put the calorie count next to it, what it would come to. But it was fun. They had all sorts of things, chicken and fish and a catfish, the deep fried fish, and then these adult beverages with a sort of all the garnish on the top, which makes it look a bit healthy till you get into it. But it was a fun venue. It's a really nice venue. It's a new venue, and probably worth going there once if you go on that ship.
Was it one of the specialty venues that had a charm?
Okay, well, this was back on the Nicko cruise. So these are cocktails called Blue Danube. So there you go. So that I would say, in my defense, is a sort of elevated gin and tonic, because there is gin in it, there is tonic in it, and then there's curacao and I think some lemon juice. But fun.
That one has a few calories in it too.
I'll have one of them. Jeannine, just going back to the mason jar,
Yes.
Is that one of the specialty restaurants? And what's
Yes, it is.
it?
It's a full-fee restaurant, so yes, you pay as you go.
Right. Was it badly priced, or was it?
No, I mean, pretty
$60?
reasonable. I mean, I'd have to look it up, but I think the cocktails were something like about $12, and the main courses. No, you wouldn't wince at them, and it's certainly worth going to once on the cruise. But I would
more of
probably
an a
say,
la carte than a cover charge restaurant then.
yeah, no, you pick from the menu. You just take what you want. But I would probably say yes, definitely be slightly abstemious leading up to it, or head to the gym or something like that.
3 hours in the gym before.
I'm going to come to the defense. I guess it would be the defense. Maybe it wouldn't be, of Royal Caribbean. The last three or four cruises that I've been on of Royal Caribbeans, I didn't even think about going to a specialty restaurant because the main dining room food was so good. I mean, I never even considered it. That's how
Some people don't. Some
how
people,
Royal Caribbean has stepped up their game completely with the main dining room.
Yeah.
you're
Nice.
right. Some people enjoy it, and the food on most 99% of cruises in the main dining, your 3, 4, 5 course dinners blow your mind. They're out of this world. They're beautiful. You can't go wrong. But then, like us, we did on our 10-night cruise, we did 4 nights in speciality. And it was like, just because you wanted something a little bit different and things. But then on some cruise ships, you find some of the speciality menu may appear on the main dining menu in some of the restaurants, or if you're in the suite, some of it might appear in there. So you can get a taste of them without actually going in them on some of the cruise. But I always do like at least once. I like to go and do a bit of
I think
speciality.
it's often the change of the ambience and just the room. They're smaller rooms, fewer people. And just like this one was fun because you had the live country and western band, and that just made it a little bit different.
Guys, I want to get this in here now so that we can still end on a high note, because we want to just take a moment, wish Katie Kendrick, one of our regulars all the time. She's in our extended cruise family, and she lost her 14-year soulmate, her dog, in the last day or so.
Yeah.
And we just want to say, Katie, we all care about you, and this will pass. And it's so hard to say goodbye to a pet. That's the one thing that cruises don't do, is they should let us bring our pets on board and have them along with us. But
there'll be
so
chaos.
Katie,
There'll
from
be
our
chaos.
family, from all of our family to you, just know that we are thinking about you. And so we are loved.
We've all been there many times. But you know what? Always remember, you gave them the best life that they could ever have. And they'll always remember that.
Except you didn't take them cruising, so you didn't give them the best life. There was one step up that you could have done, and you didn't. You didn't do it. So.
My cats tell me that all the time.
Hang on, I've just got to go back. Actually, talking of cruising, you can actually take your dog transatlantic, New York to Southampton.
Oh, the Queen Mary has. It's the only ship that actually is set up with kennels, and you can. Most of those dogs are actually moving. They're not going on a cruise. They are, for whatever reason, moving from Europe to America or from America to Europe. But they even have a fire hydrant, for God's sakes.
And then, or a lamppost for the UK dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot that the ones that lift their leg that way have to have a lamppost. So yeah.
I believe there's a little bit of grass as well down there that they have, so that dogs that like to go on grass can feel comfortable and things. And you literally could, when they do the transatlantic there back, you could do a 14-night cruise with your dog or your cat and go on a cruise. But I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't take my dog on a cruise.
Because you know that the doggy ticket is just about as much as the people ticket.
It's not cheap. But you do get a discount if you're taking 2 dogs with you on the second dog.
I have a question on this one.
Whoa. Back up the ship. What is that?
Gosh, it's all to do.
A Neapolitan pizza.
Drink and eat, which is probably true.
Now, you're making pizza that you made yourself. Is that correct?
I did. There you go. Look.
Now, notice, folks, she's in the kitchen. She's doing things with dough, whatever you do with dough, with a hat on. The same hat that she had on in the dining room.
I should have probably taken it off, but what I thought, this was back on Viking Mars. And I mean, that's back in Italy. So, but the pizza thing was probably a really fun shore excursion. I mean, one of the, a great one. I mean, one of the most enjoyable ones I've done. Because I don't know about here, but we now have all this health and safety business. You'd never be allowed in a restaurant kitchen, but there you were, and so it is a very, very. It's in Naples, so a classic Neapolitan pizza, the pizza margherita, looking like the Italian flag. That's why it was created, with the red, white, and blue of the flag. And so red, green. I'm through red, white, and blue.
I was wondering where's the blue on the pizza?
Red, green, and white for Italy, but just great fun. And so the guy shows you how to do it. Much, much more difficult than you think. I mean, I was trying to make a circle; it came out like a square. Then you put the tomato sauce on, you put the grated mozzarella on, you put the basil on, they put it in the oven for you, and then you get to eat it. So good all round. But it was really good fun.
Did they have you spinning the pizza around? Were you able to do the spinning of the
I was
dough?
absolutely hopeless at that. I was absolutely hopeless at that. It was all sticking together, and he was very patiently telling me how to do it, but I couldn't. It sort of took over a bit. But it was such fun. But yeah,
That's
here's,
the
it looks like a
paddle
shovel.
that they
what they put.
smack you with if you do it wrong. Is that correct?
That would create you some smack. That would.
Yeah, that no, that's what they put it in the oven with. I wasn't allowed to do that, but no, great fun. Oh look,
Oh,
gosh, this is today, Chillie. You're so up to date.
There you're back to on a horse again.
Yeah. So what obviously, as Martin knows, today is hooray, a bank holiday to start the long
Yes.
Jubilee weekend. And so yes, I went out with a friend this morning. We found a pub with some red, white, and blue bunting outside, and
Fabulous, fabulous.
All right. Well, guys, we've managed to kill an hour here on Thursday.
On a Thursday, our new night, and we're on a Thursday.
New time.
Amigos Thursday, not Sunday.
yes,
And by the way,
Thursday's the new Sunday.
see, Martin, I didn't even give you hell about not showing up Sunday in front of all these new folks that are watching us today. So
Well, you see, I could backtrack in and say, well, I thought it was on a Thursday, not on a Sunday, but no.
Yeah,
We'll talk about this on the next show, because I'm sure you've got lots to kick off on me about on the next show. I'm sure.
moi.
Yeah, that gives you more time to pull the pictures and the videos and all the embarrassing moments. Because I've got one that I'll actually send you this one because you will laugh, from MSC, and it's that moment, you know, when you're in that moment and you do something and then afterwards you think, I could have killed somebody if that had gone really wrong, but it was just one of those things. I'll send that. We'll talk about that next show, but yeah, we'll talk about that and beyond, and Mykonos and Athens and Rhodes.
I think it is your turn next time, Martin. There've been far more photos of you with me than you.
When are we going to find out about this thing of John's?
Next week.
Next
tell you
week,
next
I
week,
think.
or maybe somebody will come up with it between now and then. So
Yeah, see if some of your guests can come up with it.
Yeah, if you do know what it is, post it in the comments. Let's see if we can and we'll come back to this and we'll have a look just before the show next week. We may pick somebody and you'll get, we can't send you a big prize, but we may give you a shout out on it.
But you can get a weekend for free at Martin and Stan's condo, and they'll cook for you, and you can clean up after their pets. It's a great deal. So,
and if you're good at gardening, you can do my garden, because my
gardening, all the gardening you want. Yeah. So it'll be great. Okay, so Jeannine, your assignment is to find out about the Rose Bowl parade, because I want to read what you would write about it. I think you would love it.
That would be neat.
And then also next week, after we find out what this place is, this is something you would be a good Jeannine writing too. So make it happen.
We start one place, go another, and we backtrack and turn around and come down a big slide on a cruise ship and God knows what else. All in an hour.
Thank you, Jeannine. We always love having you on. It's
Jeannine,
so much fun.
Thank you.
You're wonderful. And everybody else, thanks for being with us. We'll see you next Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and 7 p.m. British Summer Time for the Cruise Amigos live from someplace.
We'll
see you guys next time. Later, y'all.
Goodbye for now.